I've been seeing this lately, this trend where, kind of around election time where they'll show these debates and all this stuff when they want to talk about the economy. But now we're going to have a broad here, not her, but you're going to see her coming up, where she is going to blame feminism, blah, whatever, whatever she's going to blame. She's going to make excuses on why she's uh, a high earning female and single at a certain age. And conservatives are going to eat it up, particularly conservative men, but they don't realize that she's just making excuses. But let's continue to press play. And I'm going to have to pause this throughout for fair use purposes, because I already know they're stingy with this, but fair use again, fair use.
Love to be a stay-at-home mom. I would love to be a homemaker and a wife. I would love to be able to live on a homestead and go milk my cow and take the eggs out of the chicken coop and have one baby in the belly and on my hip and another toddler behind me. That's like my dream.
She says that's her dream, but I doubt it. What's stopping you from doing that now? Why can't you have that now? Let's hear her excuse.
But I can't fucking do that because the way the economy is set up is I'm forced to work. I'm forced
to
get an education, a higher education, a college degree in order to make enough money that I can be financially independent and afford my own home or my own rent or my own gas or my own groceries, my own insurance. And it's extremely difficult to do that. And it's very...
Who told you to do all that? I know you don't want to throw your mom under the bus. I know you don't want to throw your auntie, your aunt, right, under the bus. You don't want to throw the woman you grew up with that told you that you need to have your own. But women like her, because she's trying to pander to a certain demographic of men, particularly conservative men, right? They're not going to admit that a lot of women, or I'll say most, I'll be bold enough to say most women have been told to never trust a man and to have their own. Most women have been told this. And people can talk about it's society doing that. Yeah, but let's keep it a buck. A lot of them have been told by their moms and their grandmas and their aunts to have their own and to never trust a man. Let's keep it a buck. We have to start keeping it a buck here. All this stuff where we start blaming feminism this whole time. We act like feminism is this new thing. We've always had feminism. Like for a minute now. We've had feminism for a minute now. Like they keep blaming feminism for everything. But really, just feminism was just an opportunity to do what they always wanted to do. Because I believe women always wanted this kind of independence. Because as soon as they had an opportunity, whether it be government sanctioned or government funded or not, they left. They were just like, forget you dudes, I'm gonna get my own. You know what I mean? So this whole thing now, because now I'm looking at her, she looks like what, 27, 28. It's about that time to where she starts realizing I can't be doing this on my own for the long haul. So now it's time to start saying these conservative talking points.
Very isolating as a woman when you have to do all of that all on your own and you can't find somebody that you can outsource some of those chores and financial responsibilities like you would with a spouse. So no.
You heard how she said it? Hold on. Let's repeat that part real quick. Let's repeat that part. Look what she did to just basically describe a husband. Instead of just outright saying, I need a husband. Look what she said to describe this potential spouse or quote unquote partner. Watch this. Hold on for a second.
Isolating as a woman when you have to do all of that all on your own and you can't find somebody that you can outsource some of those chores and financial responsibilities like you would with a spouse.
So I hope you guys are going to step up to the plate and outsource. Ma'am, I don't even think it'll ma'am.
No, being a single
ma'am, it sounds like you're looking for a wife, not a husband. Low key. This is the stuff that you would say, like, if you're a dude and you're like, man, I just need somebody to handle my slight work. You know what I mean? Like when you were a dude growing up and you making some money and you'd be like, man, it'd be cool, if I had a girl, to help me just take care of the light work at home or something like that, or this other stuff, the light work. That's what she. But the conservative dudes, they're gonna fall hook, line, and sinker for this.
The spouse. So no, being a single working woman absolutely sucks. It's the worst thing ever. I hate it. I would go back to the 1950s in a second just so I wouldn't have to deal with this shit.
You're talking about a traditional nuclear family where the woman doesn't work.
So let's repeat this part one more time, what she says right here. She says, I hate it.
it. I would go back to the 1950s in a second just so I wouldn't have to deal with this shit.
You're talking
So when we're talking about the tradcons, right, the traditional conservatives, they're always trying to harken back to a fantasy, a 1950s fantasy. That's what I always tell people about the traditional conservatives. They're always basically trying to recreate the 1950s. And they don't even realize during that time, they act like even during that time, right? They act like that the women that were at home were happy to be stay at home, moms, and they were just so happy to do this and stuff like that. No, they were they had that time had its share of problems with, in terms of what the women wanted to accept their role during that time. They had problems with that too at the time. They could barely handle that. That's why they were on types of coke. They were on types of other things to help them go through the day, because they could barely do that back then. And then on top of that, when you're talking about the 1950s, they still didn't have, like, you see how we have, like, or a little bit further back, there was a time where you kind of had to do everything from scratch. So when you're cooking from scratch, cleaning from scratch, you didn't have the amenities of a automatic, a laundry machine, right? A dryer, right? A dishwashing machine, the stuff that we have today. All these things that help us clean the floor, these automatic machines that we got, we have all. So during that time, the mother she was working during that time. She was working. It was just that she was working for the home. And even then, a lot of those women would still have side jobs from time to time. Teacher, a part-time nurse and stuff like that. Not necessarily part-time nurse, but meaning they would have supplemental income. So the money was, so if they were to go out to get money, it wasn't for themselves, it was for the family, right? So and if she doesn't have a job, right, she would be working for the home. Like, she was still working, it was just for the home. So whether she was cleaning, cooking, doing everything was for the family. But I think a lot of the tradcon women, they or even the tradcon dudes, I don't think they understood what the 1950s was, or when we talk about the 1940s, or even a little bit more back. But usually when the tradcons are trying to harken back to is during that 1950s period, during the when we talk about the baby boom, generation, right? But anyways, let's continue. And this woman, she's going to ask her specifically, what time period are you talking about, so we can get clearer context.
Talking about a traditional nuclear family where the woman doesn't work in a married household with kids.
And statistically,
you're a single woman who isn't married with kids yet.
Yeah. So I'm for it because of the way it is. Most women.
So right here, this is where she starts asking the real questions. So she's saying you're harkening back to a time where you had a married woman, right? But she didn't necessarily have a outside job. Her job was to the family. But she's saying, here you are, you're a single woman right now, and you have no kids. So what are you talking about? You want to change it right now? It's interesting. These are the questions you got to ask. Watch this.
Where the woman doesn't work in a married household with kids.
And statistically,
you're a single woman who isn't married with kids yet.
So I'm for it because of the way it is.
That was her excuse, because of the way it is. Really? Okay. Anyways,
women were married by the age of 21 up until the 1970s.
I think it's a woman's choice. Before that, it was societally encouraged to marry young.
Yeah, and it was better for women mental health wise, long term, to be able to go into that long term committed relationship and have the established family instead of being forced to slave away for a corporation that doesn't like you, doesn't care about you, makes you sit under fluorescent lights for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. You get a lunch break, you get health insurance.
Now that she's saying this now, right? She's saying all of this now, but I bet you when she was younger, I'm telling you this, man. I bet you when she was younger, she was looking down at most of her male peers when she was climbing up the ladder. I don't know how much money I could bet you, because I'll hear women like today, like they be at the gym, they can lift some weights, and they're already comparing themselves to other men, like, oh, I can already lift better than he. You're just like that's they're in their mind. It's always a competition where they think that we're trying to compete. Like they're well, how about this? Let me put it like this. Women in their mind, they're always trying to compete against men. even though men are not trying to compete against women. I don't know how many times we got to say this, but especially when they're younger, and because they can get to certain positions faster when they're younger because of their youth and their beauty. All they really have to do is just not be fat, and they get most things kind of handed to them. So they climb the whatever ladder, the corporate ladder, or they get certain entry level jobs over men due to whatever, whether you want to say DEI or whether you say they really earned it, or if the company, they're trying to make things even. So they're getting these jobs over men, and they look down. I'm telling you, once they at that age, they're looking down on most of the dudes because they're just like, man, I'm a woman and I'm getting this job over you. What are you doing with your life? That's basically how it is. That's how it is. So I'm pretty sure when she was younger, and she had, especially as young, I'm pretty sure there were dudes that were willing to quote unquote outsource these other responsibilities for you, but you was looking down on them. But now that you're 27, 28, she's either got to be 27, 28, or 29 talking like this. Maybe early 30s, but I bet you either around 27, 28, 29 when she's sitting there talking like this. Or she's finally hit that well, I'm not going to say but bottom line, she's finally hit that realization like, yo, I'm going to have to work this job for the next 40 to 50 years of my life. And actually, it's probably going to be more because the way the economy is, most people are not going to be able to retire. Most. If we're keeping it a buck, right? But this is the, people want to say this is the consequences of feminism. Nah. It's just, this is the consequences of women being able to do what they want to do without any societal checks, meaning without any restrictions, where you just let women do what they want to do and let them kind of choose their fate. They end up trying to double back. And because there's really no consequences of them doubling back, they're allowed to play both sides of the fence. And this is the thing that I'm not going to say kind of bothered me, but that really bothers me about, supposedly, tradcon women. And they're always around that same age range, right? 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, around that age. Now, all of a sudden, where's the real men to help me outsource? It's crazy, man.
But do you have somebody who loves you staring at you every day like your child? No, it's horrible.
Now, all of a sudden, she wants a kid. Now, all of a sudden, she wants children. Especially now, I've had a young dude come on my show, and I've already had said this in terms of, look, I don't OD be hanging out with young women, but from what I've been hearing, I always be saying, I don't even think young women even want kids, right? Especially around that age, because most women have been told to party up in your late teens and your whole 20s, and then once you hit 30, then find the right one and then have a kid by then. That's what they've been taught. So we had a young dude come on the show, and he said, yeah, confirm what I said. He said, yeah, he said the girls my age, he said they don't want kids now. They just don't want kids now at that age. But then once they hit a certain age, then all of a sudden, oh, I want kids. I want to stay home on a farm. And oh my God, stop. If they don't stop this nonsense, man. And watch this. I always show this diagram to the tradcons because it's funny to me. Because I don't even know who that girl is that did that video. But let me show you guys something real quick. Because I always show this when I do like these, these tradcon themed shows right here. Here we got the tradcon thought, the trad thought diagram, right? You see this woman on the left here. Body count 30, used up hole. And then we properly call her a thought. But then we have to the right. No, sorry. Then we take this girl to the right. Same body count as her, but she just has a dress and a Bible. Used up hole. It's basically, she's just a used up thought with a Bible. And the only difference is she just has a dress and a Bible, but many tradcon men, they fall for this. And they don't realize this is the same broad. This is the same broad. Only difference is she has a Bible now, you know. And this classic conversion, we're seeing it with the OnlyFans models. How many OnlyFans models that you're seeing now? Oh, I'm done doing this OnlyFans stuff. I want to find a husband, and now I converted. And you're just like, are you serious? And it's working. And it's working for a lot of them. It's working. So, like I said, I hope you tradcon dudes, I hope you're paying attention, man. I hope you're paying attention.